Welcome to the Renovating Riches podcast. Entrepreneurs from Houston teaching you everything they know about entrepreneurship and real estate with the best guests in the real estate industry. Subscribe today on all major platforms and gear up for another episode of Renovating Riches.
Welcome to a Renovating Riches Radio podcast today with Mr. Adam Metzler. Thank you so much for coming, man.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you.
The honor's mine. Thanks for having me.
So who is Adam? Let's talk about from the beginning. Like, when you were a child.
Yeah.
Where do you grow up? Where were you born?
Cool. Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. So I'm actually working on. I'm writing a book right now, and it's kind of the journey of my life in a sense, and this will kind of lead into that a little bit.
Right.
But so I come from Minnesota, and the reason why I say that is because part of what I learned through Toastmasters was labeling speeches and things like that. And my first speech was from the freezer to the oven, because Minnesota, freezing cold, to Houston, Texas, the boiling pot.
Wow.
You know. So
Especially in the summertime.
Oh yeah, especially in the summertime. Like today, actually, it felt like Minnesota.
What's the hottest that it gets in Minnesota?
It actually gets kind of warm sometimes in the August, maybe like 112-ish, and it's got a little bit of humidity because it's got all the lakes.
112?
Yeah, it actually does get there very rarely,
wow.
but that's like the hottest. It'll hover in the mid 90s, high 90s.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've only been there once, and it's been on the airport. That's it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's got a pretty good. It's an international airport now.
Yeah. I flew in from Japan, I think it was, and I was like, why is a flight from Japan landing in Minnesota? Yeah, it was weird.
Central of the country, who knows?
Right, and then I was connecting back to Houston. That's when I was in the oil and gas business.
Okay.
So what age or when did you move from Minnesota?
So I was there for 26 years.
Okay.
And then.
So you graduated high school there, and
Yep.
did you go to school there?
Graduated high school, 97, went to a little bit of college, played some amateur baseball.
Okay.
And then, to be honest with you, my mom died when I was very young, when I was 20. And so that threw me in kind of a tailspin. And then so I dropped out of college, didn't really know what I was going to do, did the whole bartending thing, built multifamily homes for a couple of years. Then I got into corporate USA.
And you were building those as a...
Framing carpenter.
Okay.
Yep.
So you
got
did framing.
Yep, got the framing from the slab up through the roof. And so we'll get to later, but that's where my construction background started.
Right.
Yeah, never knew where it was going to go or come back around, but lo and behold, it did.
Good deal. And and you got incorporated doing what?
So then I got into Best Buy.
Okay.
Yeah, so I worked there for 10 years, and I started just as a data entry.
Right.
And then I worked my way all the way up to a national strategic account manager.
So is Best Buy like corporate headquarters up there in Minnesota?
Yeah, corporate headquarters in Minnesota.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So I never even worked in the store, went straight to the corporate, and just got lucky at one of those part-time gigs that you go to find a job.
And how was it working for Best Buy?
Man, it was awesome. It was a great company. I saw a lot of the ups and downs, and that's why they're still around today. You know, Circuit City went out. I was there through all of that. We saw the Amazon coming in. Hated Amazon, but then ended up getting to like them, and then they partnered with them, and they just the customer centristic format that they had, and then their new CEO came in and was a guy that went and kind of shook the janitor's hand as much as they did the VPs.
Right.
And it really resonated with the entire company, and they listened to the people on the floor, they implemented it, and they're still around.
Man, I'm so happy to hear that, because I'm actually a customer of both Amazon and Best Buy.
Okay.
But I'm the kind of guy that I will go on Amazon, look for stuff.
Yeah.
But I'd rather go to Best Buy and pick it up. I don't know why.
Right.
But I was like, oh, it's in Best Buy. I'm going to go get it in Best Buy so I can, I guess, touch it, feel it,
They'll always be around for that. They just have to be cautious of the brick and mortar thing, because so many people are buying online. It takes a big chunk of
I think what's going to happen to those
income.
big businesses is that they're going to have small showrooms.
Right.
Like, I don't think they're going to have these big buildings like they do today.
Yeah.
You look at it in banks, for instance, like Wells Fargo. They're starting to put little stores in like shopping centers.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So they went from having this big building,
Walmart neighborhood stores.
right?
Yep, and actually to that point, one of the things that I think really saved Best Buy was they started renting out their space. So it's kind of a real estate mind.
Yeah.
They had all this huge space. For one, they started selling off chunks of their space to other companies.
Right.
So like Ulta went into the one by Pasadena, and they bought out like probably 20,000 feet of that 40,000 foot building, so that cut their rent in half. And then they also rented out each space. So Sony now pays them, Apple pays them, HP pays them. Before it was just all
Best Buy.
Yeah. Now they're renting out the space like a landlord.
And it makes sense to those guys because they're like, look, man, if Best Buy goes away, where are you going to display your stuff at?
And that's what we always kept saying. Yeah, like, man, they should just rent the space out, and then they did it. Yeah, so it's being innovative, and that's what we have to be.
It's a co-working facility for big companies that are in the electronics industry, pretty much.
Yeah, it is. Well, and to have a brick and mortar store because who wants to buy a computer without touching it? You really can't. I mean, you can, but then you're going to buy and bring back. It's
unless you're a computer wizard and you know what you're buying.
Right. Some of those products will always have to be touch and felt to some extent.
Good. So when did you leave Best Buy? How long ago?
Let's see. That was 2014. What are we in 2020, 2014,
6
2015?
years ago.
So wow, man, that was 6 years ago
6 years ago.
That's crazy to think.
And then what do you do after that? Like, did you drive down here right away? Or?
So no. So I was in Minnesota. I was at Corporate USA up there till 2006. Had a daughter. That the mom moved down to Houston. So then I moved down to follow. Then got married and had a kid and got divorced, and then we'll get into that later in a different podcast. But that's what got me down here in 2006.
Okay, so you were following your daughter's mother.
Yep. So came down here, 2006, got here.
Things that women will make you do.
Oh my goodness, I tell you. And so Best Buy is a big company nationwide, so I was able to transfer, stay in the company, and so I ended up working for them for 10 full years. But in 2014 or so, I just felt like there was more to life, and I saw the cap, I saw the ceiling. The guy ahead of me was been there for like 20 years, wasn't going anywhere. I'm like, I can go to Austin or something like that. I didn't want to move to another state. The reason why I came down was to be with my daughter.
Be close to your daughter, yeah.
So anyways, so I was like, well, how do the millionaires and billionaires, what do they do? Success leaves clues, right? So I went and researched it, and I found out that they all either make it or sustain it in real estate. I'm like literally 80 to 90% of all the millionaires and billionaires. So I was like, I got to figure out real estate. So that's when the whole real estate journey and research began. And then I went to a different company and sold technology for a little while, and then some other small-time, part-time stuff. And I was like, you know what? I gotta dive into this real estate thing full-time. I can't dabble. So I cashed out my 401k and took 6 months and really dove into the business.
Good deal. So what year is this when you?
So now it's about 2015. It was about a year later. I left Best Buy at 2014, went to another company through 2015, sold bandwidth, CBON, Birch for businesses and stuff like that, kind of like Comcast. And then, that was a business. Goodness gracious. You talk about hardcore sales.
Yeah.
You're going business to business, door to door with signs on the door that say, you're not allowed.
Do not disturb.
Yeah.
No soliciting.
And we still had to, and some of them even said, CBN employees not permitted.
Wow.
Yeah, literally, because I knew what that whole business model was.
Right.
And so that helped ramp up the sales and the cold calling and the door knocking and the rejection, which come to find out, there's a lot of that in real estate. So it was kind of preparing me for wholesaling and buying and working with sellers and things like that.
Good deal, man. So how was your entry into real estate? Well, how did that look like?
It looked like kind of a slow roll. I was doing some speaking engagements, and then I met a guy that was.
What were you speaking about?
It was MC for a guy who had this thing called Story Jam. And it was to help inspire people to get on stage and tell their story.
Okay.
And so I would MC that event for him in Sugar Land and some other areas. And one of the guys that came to it that he knew ended up being a real estate guy. And so I ended up talking to him a lot. He's like, yeah, man, you got to come over to real estate. It's good. So I did that thing for a little bit, and that's when I decided to cash out the 401k, go at it hardcore for, to make it work. Didn't work. Lost all that money, unfortunately. But
what were you? How were you using it though?
Well, it was really just so I didn't have to have a full-time job. It was because I was trying to get into real estate.
So you were using that money to pay bills,
and
research,
and research.
And you didn't lose it. You really used it.
Yeah, I used it. There you go. It was like an investment.
It is. You pay for education one way or another, right?
So you do. You absolutely do. Yeah. And so I didn't really know about, mentors and real estate schools and everything, then like the fortune builders, and stuff like that. Otherwise, I would have probably did that instead. But hindsight's always 20/20. So
yeah, but you don't know what you don't know. No. So I didn't know either when I started, and I literally just went and bought houses.
Wow, that's awesome.
Straight up, like that's it. That house looks ugly. I think I can make it work, and boom, and I did pay, my education money on
hard knocks.
Yeah, so literally.
Yeah.
So
I think that's a lot of people's stories, especially in real estate. I don't think there's any real smooth.
Most of the people that
entryway.
I see, most of the people that I see that go and take on fortune builders, and not to say anything about them, they actually got a great program.
Very good program.
But they go that educational route. They get the education, but once they go implement it, they still go through the school of hard knocks.
Yeah.
So you're gonna pay for it one way or another. Now, I would rather be educated.
Right, and learn, and
then go through the school of hard knocks than go through the school of hard knocks from the get-go, because then at least you mitigate some of the risk by educating yourself. So if you are out there and you need education, let me know.
Yeah,
we'll teach you out here something, okay?
Yeah.
So anyways, so you cast out your 401k. Yep. That's talking about burning all your ships, right? You cast out your 401k, you start learning, and then what did that look like after you, I guess, ran out of money or, I don't know.
That's exactly what it was. It was, I don't know. It was like, this isn't working. So we agreed to disagree in regards to, where we were in that partnership, if you will. And then I was like, I'm not going back to corporate USA. I've had a taste of this life and what it can do, and so I've got to figure this out.
Right, and then you've also seen by that time other people making it, right?
Right. At that time, I'd seen other people making it. I've seen the deals. I was part of a deal or two, and then they fell through, so I kind of had the taste of it too.
Yeah.
And I saw the potential of it, and then I'm a kind of guy that once I see potential, I really try to go after it. And so I was like, I got to figure this out. So then I went and got my real estate license. Tried to do the realtor thing for a little while. Found out I wasn't a buyer, seller, agent type person. I'm like, what else is there? I gotta get this investing thing right, because I'm a sport coat, jean jacket kind of guy. I like that type of environment, and I'm a transformational guy. So with my faith, with my life, with helping other people, homes, just having the ability to see that vision, kind of like when we were talking about that deal.
Yep.
Like, oh man, the elevation on that house, like I can just see it. You remove those trees and you do that. Not everybody can do that.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I gotta find a way to take that gift, if you will, or that desire, that passion, and make it. And so I helped as many other people as I could with what I had available, with my resources and will and drive, and just kind of bounce my. I worked with this wholesaler, I worked with that team, and then it came to a point where I needed, I got some wholesale fees, but then I couldn't get enough deals together fast enough. So I was like, well, how can I get income? My wife's father has a fence company, so I was like, oh, it's real estate. Every real estate deal needs fences or whatever. I'm like, hey, I can just start selling fences. So I started selling them for him. And then I was like, man, I'm a framing carpenter by trade. I used to build homes when I was younger. So I was like, hey, why don't I figure out how to build these things? I was like, I can do this. So then I started building them. So then I started a fence company. So that helped me at least get the day-to-days going. Yeah. And then I started a JV company with a friend of mine from my church. And we got that's where Adam Buys Texas Houses came from. We got a couple deals in. We did a huge JV flip over in Southeast Houston where we did really, really well. I got my first $20,000 assignment fee, and I was like, man, this stuff is real.
It
like
works.
I could actually touch it, and it happening to me from the efforts that I was putting forth. And so I was like, okay, I'm in it to win it, and just you know. But then life happens. You know, I'm also a father of 5.
Okay.
I have 5 kids, 2 from my previous marriage, and then 3 in-house now.
Right.
With my beautiful wife of 8 years, and only provider. So I've realized a lot of people trying to do what I've done in this industry usually have another income source.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, man, I can't beat up myself too hard because I'm the only one providing. So what I'm doing is, you know, I don't want to say it's admirable, I don't pat myself on the back, but it's like I got to be reasonable with my expectations.
Right.
You know, and so that's kind of part of what we're talking about today is like, how do we grow? How do I get to that next level? And it's that confidence, that faith, that trust, like just get it under contract, know that you can do it, have the faith that the rest will come and follow, but don't be afraid to take that step. And
Right.
so I just have been keep taking steps, JV with this person, work for this person. And one thing that I say is really a tall tale that's helped me get to where I'm at now is just selflessly adding value to other people as much as possible. So Zig Ziglar has a quote that I live by that's, if you help enough other people get what they want in life, you'll get what you want.
Mm-hmm.
And that's literally how I've been able to make it this far without going back to a W-2 job.
To a W-2 job.
And now I got a construction company and...
So I apply the same principles, right?
Good, yeah.
Same principles. I listen to Zig Ziglar. I still listen to him, actually.
Yeah.
And I listen to a lot of other guys that came after him.
Right.
I
Maxwell's, Rohn,
Maxwell,
those,
Jim
yeah.
Rohn, you know, Les Brown, Tony
Yeah.
Robbins. I mean,
Now
all
the
these.
Ed Milet's of today.
Yeah, these guys are more sophisticated now,
Mm-hmm.
right? They're now you're seeing business owners and entrepreneurs that made it
Yeah.
come out and teach the principles.
You're right.
Right? At the time, Zig Ziglar was just teaching the principles.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't necessarily was like a guy like Ed Milet or Andy Frisella who actually own businesses.
Right. Yeah.
I
No,
think
he
Zig
was out
Ziglar,
there.
He was just selling stuff.
Yeah, probably going to sell some stuff down the road after his latest
Right.
speech.
Right, yeah, he was selling Tupperware, that kind
Yeah.
of stuff, and then life
Door
insurance.
to door. Yeah.
Life insurance. He made money through that.
Yeah.
And then he just started speaking and motivating people, right?
Yeah.
But today's society is different now because of the connectivity
Mm-hmm.
through Instagram, Facebook, and all that. You got all these other guys that sort of follow all the people that came before them,
Right.
but they're more engaging with the public and they're more direct, which is something that probably in the past could have happened, but the means of conveying that message wasn't there. You had
Right.
to go buy tapes or you had to go buy something, you know.
Right.
Now it's like you just get on Instagram and you see some guy talking about positive mindset.
Yeah.
That's how easy
Channels
it
of it.
is. Right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. The
going back
pioneers of it were true pioneers.
to right. So going back to your journey, right? So now
Yeah.
you focus big time on general contracting
Yep.
because you're doing. I would say that's where your strength
Right.
is on executing the work and like making these rehabs look real good.
Yeah.
'Cause you're working with different people, and I
Yeah.
looked at some of your projects, and I was like, man, that's a really nice house. You guys did real good on that one.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, what would you say are the basic things that need to happen on a rehab as far as a sequence goes? So let's say you pick up a house, and let's talk about a full rehab. Okay?
Right. Okay.
Something that needs everything.
Everything. Yeah.
What does that sequence look like?
Well, first, what I've learned, again, a lot of this is knowing the big vision of everything, and then the day-to-days.
Right.
Sometimes they're two different things.
Yeah.
So, for instance, not addressing like all the plumbing right away or
Right.
the electrical right away, and then having to go back and be like, oh, now I gotta pull out that drywall
Yeah.
and redo that. So really, it's the mechanics of the house.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of talked about that. Making sure that you have I call them the big 5. Everybody has different names for them, but your foundation, your roof, your plumbing, your electrical, and your HVAC. Those are going to be your biggest tickets, and you want to make sure that those things are working and functional and 100% in working order before you even do a lick of drywall.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you always go back and have to fix
And
it.
open it up and
Yeah.
and
And the drywall guy gets upset and whatnot, even though he's getting paid. He doesn't want to have to go redo his work. So you want to keep your crew happy too. So really having it planned out, knowing from kind of thinking with the end in mind.
So what's the first thing you fix?
The first thing I fix is foundation, if it needs foundation. You got to get everything in life, and it's isn't it funny how it works that way? Everything works based on your foundation, and it starts with a house.
Yeah.
So you got to get that foundation right, and then you got to protect the interior. So your foundation, your roof, make sure everything is protected. Then from there, I make sure that your electrical is good, because you got to have power to run anything else, your water heater or anything else, and then your plumbing comes next with your HVAC, so your heating and cooling. And then in that order, making sure those get all addressed. And once those are all addressed and taken care of, then if there's no like moving of walls and whatnot, that would be next. And then positioning of doors, windows, stuff like that. Your more cosmetic things, if you will, but functions of the house.
Yeah.
How do you want the house to function and flow?
Yeah.
Because I've seen a lot of contractors go in and just fix what's there. And that's cool. It's probably a cheaper way to do that. And in some cases, that's all you have to work with.
That's all you can do, yeah.
That's all you can do. But I've learned, too, that if you plan it right, just moving like an electrical switch or a box, that's built in the 80s, they aren't thinking how they're going to use multiple appliances, right? Just by addressing that up front and moving it, a few inches over, the flow of the house is so much better. So really trying to elevate ourselves. It's top-notch construction, and we want to be top-notch in all that we do, including the details. So we want to pay attention to the details, the flow of the house.
So you fix the mechanicals first, and I like your sequencing is the same one I use.
Nice.
So I do the foundation first, the roof, then the exterior walls, electrical, plumbing, and AC. And then basically close the walls, and then after that is HGTV.
Yeah, it is.
The backsplash, the flooring, the new counters or whatever.
Yeah.
I've seen over and over again a lot of people getting in this business, and they watch so much TV that they go
detrimental.
Paint the house. They fix all kinds of stuff,
or
but
they'll do like I'll go in this house and be like, oh man, this needs this and this, and I'll start going, and the bath is done, like the shower surround is all done, and yet there's like drywall missing, and the kitchen's like all apart, and I'm like, why is the bath done?
And they haven't run the plumbing.
And they haven't run plumbing.
And I was like, why do you tile the bathroom without changing the galvanized plumbing that needs to be replaced? So I've seen, actually, I had
sequence is big.
I had a friend that came for help one time. He said, hey man, I'm buying this house and I need a loan. So I kind of like pointed him towards a hard money lender.
Okay.
And this guy had a job, he was qualified, had a little bit of money saved, and he gets the money approved. But when I look at the numbers, he only put like $30,000 for the rehab, and the house was probably maybe 1,800 to 2,000 square feet. And I was like, man, this house is from the 60s. $30,000 rehab seems like $20,000 to $30,000 short.
Yeah, because plumbing alone is 5 to 7.
$5 to
if
7.
You gotta redo it.
So I was like, hey man, I don't know if you mind me going to that property.
Yeah.
To look at it. He's like, yeah, man, go look at it. And I go there, and foundation was bad, number one.
Ooh.
So he didn't have that on his budget.
Yeah.
Roof was bad. He didn't have that on his budget.
Yep.
And then I can see the galvanized plumbing, and I was like, that needs to be replaced. And yeah, I can see it's been leaking too, because it's green, it's got holes and stuff.
Yeah, the residues.
The residues. And I was like, okay, galvanized plumbing. And then I look at the electrical. The electrical was okay, but the freaking walls are open already. Might as well change the wiring,
That's just it.
And so, and then the breaker box needed to be replaced. So it's one of the old ones, General
Square D
Pacific or whatever they're called, right? Or Federal Pacific.
Yeah,
so,
FPEs.
I look at it, and then I'm writing all these things down, and then I'll call them up. It's like, bro, where the hell do you come up with this budget?
This is what I'm seeing.
I think you're in it for $35K without having to close a wall yet.
Yeah.
He showed me his budget, and his budget was flooring, It was the kitchen cabinets. It was the backsplash. And I was like, man, you got to fix the foundation.
Yeah.
That job is probably going to be $4,000. And it wasn't that bad.
Okay.
You know, it
So
was,
get in,
yeah, he could have
10, 12 piers, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. It was like $4,000. And then your roof is bad. So what the previous owner did is he changed the front roof, but not the back.
Oh, love it. So you're seeing it.
You're seeing it from the front, and it looks okay.
Yeah.
And then when you go in the back, you're like, oh my God, you know. So it's like, might as well change the whole thing now because you don't even know if they did the front roof right.
Right.
And he started questioning me. He's like, oh man, are you crazy? Are you sure? I was like, bro, I've done a lot of these things.
Right.
As a friend, I'm telling you, you're way short on your rehab.
Yeah, be cautious.
Well, long story short, he couldn't buy the property because the Harmon lender sent an appraiser there.
Oh, I probably saw it.
And once the appraiser wrote all those deficiencies down, the lender was like, look, man, I'm sorry, but your rehab budget doesn't add up to what the appraiser is putting here.
Right, to get it there.
So we're not going to give you this loan. And then he kind of called me and said, man, I guess you were right.
Yeah.
And I was like, it wasn't about me being right, dude. It was about me trying to help you
see things.
See the things that you need to be fixing.
Oh, and it goes back to kind of what this conversation is, the journey. It's so much of what we've learned, and part of like what this podcast is, man, this industry, any industry, anything you try to do comes with bumps and bruises, you know, just but be humble enough to like take the wisdom, you know, of others that have gone before you, you know, but also don't be afraid to take a lick yourself.
Absolutely.
Because that's the best way it learns is when you get hit with it.
I'll give you an example. So I was going through some adversities because I had a lot of rehabs that weren't finishing, and you know, this is after Harvey. You know, I lost all my crews. I mean, it was a nightmare.
Actually, I think I was talking to you back in Rosenberg about a year and a half ago when you were dealing with all that.
Yeah. So I'm still dealing with some of that. So it's not like I'm off the hook.
Right.
But I'm much closer to be done with it, right? So I met this guy, and I'm not going to mention any names because he's sort of famous.
Yeah.
But he's not engaged in real estate anymore as much as he used to. And I tell him about it, and he's like, Ricardo, why didn't you just call all your lenders right after the storm and told them that you were going to stop payments?
Interesting.
And I was like, because I don't think
want to.
I don't think I needed to. I have money, plenty of money in the bank, and I didn't know that, I was going to lose all my crews either.
Right.
So I thought that I could still, keep payment. And he's like, yeah, I was facing something like that similar a few years ago, and I lost a couple of $1 million thanks to that. And then it happened to me again. And then the second time around, I just called them all and I told them what was happening and that I wasn't going to be able to pay interest, that I was going to use all the money I had to finish the rehabs. And then once I get them done, then we'll pay them, on the back end when we sell the property. And I was like, well, I wish I would have known that.
Right, that would have been good.
That would have saved me a ton of money.
Did it work? Did
it worked for him.
He said, okay.
Oh, it worked for him. It worked for him. I didn't know. So to me, it was the first time.
And you don't want to call a lender and say, hey, I'm not going to pay you. They're going to be like, well, we're going to take the house.
In reality,
is that kind of what you're thinking?
In reality, they probably would have never done it.
Right.
But
they
I
would have realized.
But I was trying to stand by what I committed to do.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Oh, absolutely.
So it was more of a commitment thing.
Yeah, integrity thing. Like, hey, I told you I was going to do this. I'm a man of my word.
I'm going to
Storm hits. Yeah, I'm still a man of my word.
Right. But now that I look back, I should have done just like he said.
Ask for grace.
Yeah. So at some point, I was like, okay, I learned something now. If I go through this again, I know exactly what to do and how to behave. Will I do that? No, because I'm not flipping anymore as much as I used to. But it was a lesson learned for us, at least on that end. So anyways,
stuff that you can share with other people too.
Oh yeah, and I tell everybody.
Yeah.
Because if I can prevent people from going through that,
that's what it's about.
That's really I didn't know better.
Yeah. Right.
Maybe if I would have lived in San Antonio, I'd probably still be doing the same thing, flip after flip after flip after flip.
Because they didn't experience the Harvey.
Yeah, they don't experience that over there. So, anyways, this is about you, not about me. So how many projects have you done since 2016 when you really started getting actively in real estate? And I'm talking about general contracting, the rehabs portion of it, which is your strong. Yeah, that's your strongest, because I know you rehab for other people.
Yeah, that just got to focus this year. So it's February, so last year.
Right.
But that was just recent. So I was trying to be something for everybody, and then kind of a mentor friend of mine kind of sat down and we looked at things and kind of had this kind of talk of like, well, where can you make the greatest impact in your business today? And I was like, well, it's leadership, it's team management, it's running crews, it's getting projects done. And he's like, that's your business.
Yeah.
Forget all the other stuff.
Yeah, forget trying to wholesale, forget trying to like do these other things.
Yep. Focus on that and get that going to a level to where you're mastering that and the rest will come. And I'm like, I already know this. You already know this stuff. But that's why people have coaches and mentors and friends.
Right.
Is you try to do this stuff on your own, and not that I was being prideful and trying to do it on my own. It just, sometimes that conversation just happens at the right time when you need it.
Right.
And that was one of those moments. And I was like, you know what? That's it. So I more or less just refocused.
Right.
And kind of put everything else on the back burner that I was trying to do, focused on that, and then it just took off. And so I was like, man, so now I've got 5 or 6 projects going on. I just did all the numbers for last year, which was like 12 or 14 projects. And I was like, man, this is good. It's not where I necessarily want to be, because I still have the investor mindset. I want to be there. But like what we were talking earlier, it's very, very wise if you want to be an investor to learn the ins and outs of construction and the rehab, all the costs, all the nuances, all the ins and outs, all the setbacks, all the contingencies, how contractors work, how to communicate with them.
Not only that, based on your background now, you can be a much more successful investor going forward, because you took that 1 to 2 years of preparation on learning the general contracting portion of it, which is so tough, because that's the hardest part of this business.
Yeah, it's very.
It's not finding the deal or the money.
Yeah.
Although sometimes it seems like it really is really not.
Yeah.
It's the general contracting, managing contractors, making sure you're meeting your deadlines, making sure you're doing it within budget. And we just talked about you had a project that you got out of budget.
Yep.
Like we all do.
Yep.
It's part of the business.
But don't be afraid of that. Still get into it. But yeah.
So now going forward, for you, once you really establish yourself as a real estate investor,
right,
meaning you're buying the properties yourself and you're fixing them up,
yep,
you should have a much easier future than some of us, because I had to become a GC by necessity.
Sure, right. Oh,
that was it. I got burned through some contractors, and I was like, "The hell with this!
Yeah.
I'm gonna go get my own cruise. I'm gonna go get my own insurance."
Yeah.
And I literally did it by necessity.
Right.
Not that I enjoy that portion of it. I don't care for it anymore.
Yeah.
But I did go through what you went.
Yeah.
And that's what made me, I would say, successful afterwards on the flips.
Yeah.
Because then all I had to do was focus on getting deals and getting money in order to fund the deals.
Right. Because now you know how to take the transition piece and get it completed.
No, and we had a system.
Yeah.
So same paint color, same backsplash, same cabinets, same flooring. Like we did not try to reinvent the wheel whatsoever. Like my sister lives in LA and she's connected to producers and stuff like that, and she told them about me.
Okay.
She said, "Hey, my brother is flipping like 40 houses and doing the," and they're like, "What? Oh my God, we need to talk to him. We can put him on TV."
Yeah.
And they called me and
Nice.
and I talked to him and I was like, "Okay, I might be interested, but I'm not gonna modify my processes for your TV show."
Because they want to change it up. They want to make it pretty. It's the monotony of success. I don't remember Gary Keller or whoever I heard that from, but it's the boring monotony of success is where most people lose it.
So they really once I told them that, they're like, "Well, but can you change colors and backsplashes and maybe?" And I was like, "I'm not doing that. Sorry."
Yep.
And they're like, "No, that's too boring for us. That doesn't sell." And I said, "Okay, perfect." And that was it. That's as far as I went, on TV.
Yeah, right.
So,
yeah. Hey, well, maybe in the future, you never know. Something like this could turn into. But
So where do you see yourself going forward?
Man, I just kind of like what we had talked about, just continuing to master the construction side. You know, you're never going to be fully over it because it's a very fluid business.
Yeah.
Prices change, industry changes, contractors change, laborers change, markets change, things like that. So that's always going to be a ebb and flow thing. But I ultimately see myself as being more into probably development in the next 2 to 5 years.
Okay.
Like I really want to get into
Building from the ground up.
right, building from the ground up, taking areas of land, plots of land, communities, and really kind of helping grow them, redesign them, start new ones, that type of thing. I love the renovation of houses, and I think I'll always have some of that in there. But I also I've been dabbling in the idea of commercial too, because I like that whole tenant, pays for everything.
Cash flow.
It's just a little bit harder to get into that. So, but again, it's you don't want to live in that scarcity mindset. You want to be able to be like, hey, if the opportunity arises, just go do it. Like we were talking earlier, like get the money. If you don't have this, then still do it, and then go find it. So I don't really know exactly what the future holds for me, but I do want to be a big player and impactor in investment, property, real estate investment of some form or fashion, potentially getting into developments.
Good deal, man. So I'm doing that right now. I'm developing.
Oh, cool.
But I never saw myself as one.
Okay.
And I didn't even understand it.
Okay.
Like, I didn't know how to develop land. There was a lot of unknowns for me.
Oh, I bet.
But one of those properties that we were stuck with was on 3 acres of land.
Okay.
And Dennis and I kept on going back and forth. What do we do with this? What do we do with this? What do we do with this? And we rehab it. And then if we rehabbed it, it didn't make sense to put it on the market or rent it unless we put like trailer homes on it.
I was going to say, and have all that land just
Yeah,
sitting
so
there,
I mean, we were just going at it for months. I mean, probably for a year, more than a year or so. And one day we bumped into something, and Dennis called me and said, hey, man, I think I know what we can do with this land. It was always him, not me.
Yeah.
And he's an engineer, so he's been, he's actually a civil engineer, so he's been on big projects where they do like development of highways and underground utilities and that kind of stuff.
So he's the one to blame for the construction in 45.
Pretty much.
Okay.
And 290.
And 290. And now 610.
Yeah. So he came up with this idea, and he called me up and said, hey, man, I think I know what we can do with this lot. I didn't understand it when he first explained it to me. And I was like, okay, man.
Different language.
It was a different language.
Yeah.
And I was like, look, man, all I know is how to flip houses at that time.
Right.
Can you come here and let's talk about this? And he showed me the whole thing. And he said, if Ricardo, one thing you're good at is raising money. One thing I'm good at is building these big, giant buildings.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, let's make sure there's a market for that on that lot. And then let's go to work.
Nice.
And that's how we got into it.
Oh, that's cool.
It was a complete, the universe was pushing us through that direction, and that's where we're going next.
And be open to it.
Right, and we were open. I was open to it, even though I didn't know.
Right.
I didn't know. It took us a year and a half probably to learn a lot of the things that we needed to put in place in order to get to where we are today.
Yeah.
So it was a huge learning curve. It was a lot of reading, a lot of learning on how to do it right from a financial point of view to a construction point of view.
Right, right.
We had to go visit with the county, talk to the county engineers to see if we could even do something like that on that lot, right?
Right. Yeah, don't start building.
No. So that was the first thing. It's like, look, let's go talk to the county, make sure we can do something on the lot. And they blessed us. Then they said, and they actually pointed us on the right direction with the engineers.
They had the resources.
They said, hey, go talk to these engineers. They'll draw it for you. They'll draft it. Blah 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 blah.
And if they're referring them, they're going to work with them well.
Exactly.
And you want people to work together well.
Yeah. We want to pay these engineers so they can do it right.
Yeah.
So that's how we got into that.
Nice.
But
we'll have to have a future conversation.
Yeah, nowhere near my imagination I would have been doing what I'm doing right now.
That's awesome.
And it's also a way out from the flips. Like we don't see ourselves flipping houses for too much longer.
Yeah.
Other than wholesaling, we'll continue to do that because
Well, and you've already got a business built,
Right.
You know,
Right.
so it doesn't. It takes more to shut it down than it does to.
Yeah.
To just
But
keep it
anyways,
going.
man, thank you so much for coming in,
Yeah,
man, and
absolutely.
sharing your
Appreciate it.
journey.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty interesting. I didn't know about the Best Buy thing.
Yeah.
So, guys, hit share, like, and subscribe. Don't forget to tell everybody about this podcast. If you want to reach out, Adam, where can they reach you out at?
Adam W. Metzler, M as in mom, ETZLER on just about any platform. Adam W. Metzler. You'll find me.
Adam Metzler. Find him on Facebook,
Yep.
Instagram.
YouTube now too. I'm working that up because I like the videos. You've seen a lot of the videos that I do, so I'm trying to ramp up the videos now. So.
Good deal. So look him up on YouTube. He's got his YouTube channel up and running.
Yep.
And I'll see you on the next one. Bye.